I tengok 26 orang dah waiting.
Okay, so I dah start live.
Hmm.
Tiga per dua. Okay. Start live.
Hmm. Dua puluh enam orang. Boleh tutup muka saya dulu.
Regis, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so I guess we can start now. Right, so Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to all respected teachers. Okay, my name is Nur Wahida and intern student at PPD MOA. First, I gladly welcome all the teachers to today's sessions. I hope that you are doing well wherever you are. Okay, so for today, as all of you can see on the screen, we will listen to some information regarding the assessment through Pbl, or what we call as project-based learning. Okay, so for your information, this program basically is a collaboration between PPD MOA and also PPD Korean. Okay, now I am so excited to introduce to you our speaker for today's sessions. It is Mrs. Rajashwari from PPD MOA. Hello, madam. Hi, madam.
Yes, hi Wahida. Hello
Okay,
everyone.
okay. So next, our second speaker would be Mrs. Siti Shakila from PPD Korean. Hi, madam. How are you?
Hello, how are you? Hi, everyone.
Okay. Okay, so both Mrs. Rajesh and Mrs. Shakila, they are known as SISC Plus Language Officer at PPD. Okay, before we start, I have a short reminder for the teachers. Okay, if you have any question during the session, please feel free to ask through the live chat. Our speaker will answer all the questions. And one more thing, the attendance form will be given at the end of the program. Okay, thank you. So, without wasting more time, please welcome our first speaker, Mrs. Rajashwari, to start today's session.
Okay. Thank you very much, Wahida. It is indeed my pleasure to be here today on the same platform with my friend, Hwan Siti Shakila from PPD Korean. And we hope it would be a very fruitful session by the end. And we will leave this platform today gaining much knowledge and insight about our topic, which is project-based learning. Okay, Wahida, can we start the slideshow, please? Okay, Wahida, can we start the slideshow, please? Wahida? Just hang on. Okay, so today is actually our first session, a collaboration actually between two PPDs, that is PPD Mua and PPD Korean from Impera. So during this trying period of remote learning and lockdown, we thought we would like to share a little bit of insight on something which is nothing alien, but we would just like to give you more info about project-based learning so that teachers, you'll be able to conduct it in school during this PDPR period. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, as teachers, we all know that almost all teachers know that the best way to help students learn is to tap into their interests. We have to fuel their curiosity and spark the imagination. Well, teachers, as teachers, I mean, I speak for myself as well. As teachers, we must be creative, we must be versatile, and we always have to think about what our students want, their needs, and also what they will enjoy. Because at the end of the day, teaching children is actually about discovery, adventure, and exploration. Correct? Okay. So we always need to keep this in mind as we embark on our career as a teacher. Okay. All right. Next page, please. So that brings us back to project-based learning. With the schools closed and furthermore with the abolishment of UPSR, I believe teachers, all of you are very, very worried and very, very concerned on how to help your students, especially the vulnerable group, you know, the group with limited resources, with limited, they have limitations to gadgets, to data, etc. Okay, it is very, very challenging. So I'm sure you are very, very concerned because you do not have face-to-face sessions. You cannot conduct standardized tests, scores, where you would be able to assess your students and give them valid scores, thus leading to valid TPs for their PBD. So now what we feel is now is the right time for us to rethink the goals of our education system. Okay, so we need to focus more on direct learning, self-directed learning, and also to remote collaboration. So the students at home. Okay, so that is why we felt project-based learning would be a very, very good experience. It's actually giving the students authentic learning experiences, which it will be lifelong learning. Okay, next slide. Next slide, Wahida. Okay, so what is project-based learning? I'm sure all of you have learned. I mean, you have heard project-based learning. Okay, so what is it? Okay, to define it in one sentence, it's actually a teaching method where students gain knowledge and skills by working to investigate and respond to a certain question or a problem. So you see the key words here is, you know, they're going to gain knowledge and skills. Okay, and what are they going to do with this knowledge and skills? They're going to investigate how they need to respond by creating something. Okay, and what is the question or the problem or the issue? Okay, so when they investigate, we are doing inquiry based learning, and I think inquiry based learning is nothing new to all of you here. I'm sure all of you at one point in time in your training, you have heard about inquiry based learning. Okay, so through projects here, we believe that you can get your kids to keep learning. They are growing, they are discovering, you know. So during this lockdown period, learning doesn't become so monotonous to just receiving text messages from the teachers saying that, okay, do exercises this page to this page. We would like you to copy from the textbook and copy down in your exercise book. Okay, so it doesn't have to be such monotonous kind of task that you give your students. So that is why we would like to encourage you to try to do project-based learning. Okay, next page. So in KSSR and KSSM, okay, ignore KSSM here since our audience here are everybody from the primary school. And although our intention here is to focus on year 6, but I really, really believe that many teachers here are very creative and very innovative. So even if you're not teaching year 6, you may want to explore project-based learning in your classroom for the other classes. Because why? Number one, we feel that project-based learning would be a very, very good platform for you all to give your students very valid TPs when it comes to your PBB, when it comes to assessment. Okay, so that is why we opened up to everybody who is interested to know more about project-based learning to join today's session. So in KSSR, matlamat PBL is actually menggalakkan dan membolehkan murid mendapatkan pengetahuan dan kemahiran. Remember early on, we also learned about knowledge and skills, right? It's the same thing. They are going to get new knowledge and new skills. And what are they going to do with this? They are going to use this knowledge and skills. They're going to apply this knowledge, skills, and values to solve problem via effective learning. Okay, so that is how PBL is defined in KSSR. All right, next. Okay, at any one point of your career as a teacher, I'm sure all the teachers here, you have done some form of projects. Okay, now let us take a look at, let's do some little bit of reflection that what you did, is it a project or it is project-based learning? So let us see the differences between a project, which is the traditional instruction, and what is project-based learning. When it's project, it's very, very teacher-led. That means you tell the student from A to Z, you give them the instructions and they will be carrying out the entire thing based on how you feel it should be carried out. Whereas in project-based learning, it is very student-led. Means students have the choice. They can decide on how, they can decide the pathway, they can decide the direction of the project that they wish to carry out. Okay, and in project, it's usually one discipline. Whereas project-based learning, it covers more than one discipline. So when we talk about more than one discipline, I'm sure some of you among the audience, you are TS25 schools. And if you are TS25 schools, belonging to between cohort 1 to cohort 5, I'm sure you have done KMR. Okay, and KMR is actually related to project-based learning. It's interdisciplinary, meaning you can cover many subjects. But here, for English purposes, we are just going to use English, but I'm going to help you identify another way that you can do that covers more discipline, or rather more topics. Okay, let's imagine you are teaching, you're a year 6 teacher. Okay, you're a year 6 teacher. Maybe you would like to integrate certain topics in your year 6 textbook. Okay, so maybe you want to integrate 2 topics. So horizontal, okay, you integrate 2 topics to carry out one project. Okay, this can be horizontal, okay, but it's also interdisciplinary, but it's horizontal. Or maybe more often than not, phase 2 teachers, you borong, you will take year 4, you will take year 5, you will take year 6. Okay, so maybe you feel, all right, I want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I would like to assign a project to my year 5 and my year 6 children together. So you can take the vertical approach. Vertical approach, maybe year 5, year 6. So you can take a topic from year 5 and maybe another topic from year 6 that's closely related, merge both these topics and come up with one project. Okay, so that is what is it, more than one discipline. So it can be horizontal, same year, different topics, or it can be vertical, different year, different topics. So that we leave it up to you to explore, whichever way that you feel that you wish to do. Okay. Somebody says here cannot see the slide. Anybody else is having that problem? I do not know why. Wahida. Akma Abdul Hamid says she cannot see the slide. I have no idea why. Okay. All right. And then when it comes to project, it's just within the classroom. Whereas project-based learning, it goes beyond classroom. And the key word here is public audience, which is closely related to the last part, which is ends with the final public product. Meaning in project-based learning, the children will actually display their product to a public audience. So when they are publicly sharing their product to the audience. So that is project-based learning, okay, unlike a project, okay. And in project-based learning, students are given the voice and the choice, meaning they decide how they're going to carry out the project, and they can make changes along the way, unlike a project where the teacher will dictate most of the tasks. The teacher decides how it should be done. It should be A, B, C, D. So the students have to do A, B, C, D. But in project-based learning, maybe the students plan A, B, C, D, but along the way decided, okay, no, I don't want to do A, B, C, D. I want to do A, B, and E, F. The students can do it because it is their choice, their voice. They have the prerogative to make the changes, okay, as they go along. And the students are given a problem or an issue to solve in project-based learning. And in project, it's individual, whereas project-based learning is groups. Okay, teachers, you may say, in this remote learning, how can we assign groups? Okay, so for this remote learning purpose, we will we would suggest that students do the project individually, but they will be collaborating with maybe family members, okay, and other audiences. Maybe they have extended family members or friends, so they can seek or collaborate with these people in order to complete their project. And the last one, like I said earlier, in project-based learning, we always have a product, and that product is displayed or publicly shared with an audience. So basically, that is the difference between project-based learning and project. Okay, all right, next slide. Okay, all right. So let's take a look at elements of project-based learning, teachers. Okay, these are basically the elements of project-based learning. Okay, can you see the three alphabets on the, on the right-hand side of the screen, CAP? Any idea what does CAP represent, teachers? Would you like to make a guess? Would you like to type in the chat box? Any one of you? What is C, what is A, and what is P? Maybe we'll just give you a few seconds to see what kind of responses I get. What do you think is C, and what do you think is A, and what do you think is P? Can I have some responses on the chat box, please? What do you think is C, what do you think is A, and what do you think is P? No response? Content assessment pedagogy. Okay. Thank you, Anis. Adawiyah says collaboration. Okay. And then we have Adiba, who shared with us creativity, apply, product. We also have context analysis and practice. And Rashida says collaborate. Okay. All right, teachers, thank you so much for that response. In a traditional classroom, basically we will follow the approach of CPA, whereby C stands for curriculum. Okay, curriculum. Because when we conduct our lesson, we base on our curriculum. We have our DSKP, true? Okay, so the curriculum is very important. And then what do? We plan our lessons. So we plan the pedagogy part. How are we going to carry out our lesson? And then finally, something that we cannot run away from is assessment. So we have curriculum, We have pedagogy and then assessment. But in project-based learning, we are going to take the approach of CAP, meaning, yes, we are still going to use our curriculum, but we are going to do the assessment along the way, and finally, we're going to reach the pedagogy part. Okay, so it's like backward design. Backward design, actually, we are going backwards. Okay, we are planning backwards for project-based learning. All right, and let's take a look at the elements of project-based learning. We will start with driving question. Can you see the one with the 3 question mark in the brains there? Okay, what is a driving question, teachers? When we talk about driving question, it is the essential question. It is the focus of your project. The question that drives you. Okay, the question that drives you in the purpose of the project. Why are we doing it? So that is why we call it the driving question. We'll go into detail in the next slides. You can see a need to know. Okay, need to know will be more like, why do the students need to know? Why are they doing this? So it must be an issue or a problem or a challenge that is relatable to them, that is close to them, that goes to significant content. There must be a reason. Why are they doing this? They must have a purpose. Why are they doing this project? Okay. And of course, like I said, public presentation, where they display their product publicly in the end. Reflection and revision. Reflection and revision is the students, as they do their project progresses, and at the end they will reflect on what worked for them, what didn't work for them. Okay, why do they do this? Why do we reflect? Just like us teachers, we reflect after our lesson, right? Did my lesson go well today? What went well? What didn't go well? So that you would know how to carry out your next lesson. So same thing here for project-based learning. The students do the same thing. They will reflect. They will think about, okay, as I was doing this project, oh, this strategy that I used went very well. So perhaps I can use it for my next impending project. This one, nah, it didn't work well. So I'm not going to use this approach again next time. Okay. So students too need to reflect when they're doing the project. And like I mentioned, we have inquiry base. Okay, because for problem solving, we have inquiry base. And 21st century skills. Teachers, 21st century skills, like it or not, we cannot run away from them. Okay, why? Because projects help in the development of 21st century success skills. Okay, 21st century success skills are the umbrella. Okay, and last but not least, voice and choice by students. Like I stated in the earliest slide, project-based learning, the most important criteria is the student's voice and choice is taken into consideration because they are actually carrying out the project. Okay, all right, next one. Okay, these are the objectives of your project. Okay, when you carry out your project, you must have objectives as to why you want your students to do this project. So here, what we have shared are just examples of objectives that you may use when you want to do your project. Okay, for example, explain the aim and context of the project. You want your students to be able to explain, why are we doing this? Okay, and then they look for information through self-study. They read books, they read, maybe they Google things, they go through the internet, they gain information that is needed in order for them to be able to carry out the project. Okay, they link and connect the specific information across the subject. Remember, I told you it can also go across the subject. Okay, then research skills. When they are actually reading and finding information, they are actually researching for information. So they're actually practicing their research skills. Okay, they plan projects based on criteria. All right, they produce project plans based on certain timeline. Okay, remember teachers, when you give students a project to carry out, we must always give them a timeline, a specific timeline. Okay, don't say suka hati you lah, buat hantar bila-bila lah. So some of our students, they may take forever to submit their task. Okay, so we must be very specific. We must fix them the timeline, but we can always be flexible, okay, to our students. We know now during this pandemic, times are very trying. Students may not be able to get the resources to carry out the project on time. So we as teachers, we can give that leeway, the time leeway to the students, be flexible. And then again, we also have students of mixed ability group. The better kids may be able to produce the project and stick to the timeline and submit it, whereas the weaker ones may take a longer time. Okay, so that's where your flexibility comes in, teachers. So management skills, it can also be time management skills, how the students manage their time. My teacher has given me 4 weeks, so how do I stretch my project and plan it so that by the end of the 4th week I will be able to complete it. Okay, so students are learning how to manage their time. Okay, so number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, it's all there. These are just samples, teachers, but you can always come up with your own. You can come up with your own slides. I'm sorry, own objectives. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so what makes it a PBL? What makes it a project-based learning? Okay, like I said, we plan backwards. Instead of traditional is CPA, but now we are doing CAP. So it's backward planning. And then, of course, we have our DSKP, our curriculum. So we must look at our learning objectives. We must look at our standards. And then before we actually give them the project, we must brainstorm with the students. Teachers, we are dealing with primary school children who may differ from urban to rural. And even in urban, we have semi-urban, semi-rural kids. So you also play a role here. Although we say it's student-led, but since we're dealing with primary school children, we must also facilitate the brainstorming process, okay, and guide them so they can derive to good essential questions and then good projects, and they'll be able to carry out the project. Okay, you map out the project, you plan the project, and of course, what learning standard, okay, in your DSKP, what are the learning standards you are going to assess and how you are going to assess. Okay, again, I'm repeating, student voice and choice is allowed. The period of time, the timeline, like I mentioned earlier. And why do we say that PBL is student centered? Okay, PBL is student centered because children are not just merely memorizing. Okay, they are not becoming passive learners like now. Children are at home, you give them, like I said, okay, you screenshot a worksheet, tell them, okay, you copy this in your exercise book and you do. It's just one way. You give, they do. You give, they do. But here, no. Okay, they are actually, you're giving them an opportunity to demonstrate their learning. Okay, and at the end, you will be able to give a good summative assessment. And even formative assessment will occur during the project building process. When I say formative assessment, you will be observing them. They will be sharing the progress of their project with you when they share, okay, how many percent they're finished, how they feel. You'll be testing them on their oral skills, etc. So you see, formative assessment is also going to take place, and at the end, summative assessment will also be able to take place. So you see here, you would be able to derive to a valid TP when you give your students for their PBD. Okay, all right. So far, any questions, teachers? If there are any questions, you can type it in the chat box. If there's no questions, I would like to proceed to the next slide. Okay, next slide, Wahida. So, okay, in a nutshell, okay. So in a nutshell, what we can say is PBL involves students working on a project that requires creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and collaboration, all crucial skills for future success. Does the registration for this workshop will be recorded in SPL KPM by the host? Yes, it will be. But it will be only for those who view this session live, I'm afraid. Okay, so whoever views this live and submits your registration by 6 p.m. today, you would be given SPL. At 6 p.m., registration links will be closed. Okay. Okay, so going back to the slide here, engage today's skills for tomorrow. Okay, teachers, when you see creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, communication and collaboration, what comes to mind? What is the first thing that comes to mind when you see creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, communication and collaboration? Can I have some answers on the chat box perhaps? This one. What is the appropriate amount of time to give to students to complete their PBL? I will get to you. I will get to that question. Thank you, Ane. Speak AK21, 21st century skills. Exactly. Teachers, when we talk about 21st century, so Ima, thank you. 21st century learning skills, we are not, please bear in mind, 21st century learning skills doesn't stand on its own. Project-based learning doesn't stand on its own. Your your KBAT doesn't stand on its own. Okay, they're all interrelated. In fact, your 21st century skills is standing at the top. It is the umbrella, and all the others are just coming down in between. Okay, they're just coming down. Okay, so they're all interrelated. So please never think that it is standing in isolation. Okay, so engage today, skills for tomorrow. Why? Because it is our hope, in fact, it is our desire to say that all the skills that these students cultivate when they are carrying out project-based learning will translate directly to success in their future jobs. Okay, what they are doing today, project-based learning, is just a different vision of 21st century learning. So whatever skills they acquire today, engage today, whatever skills they acquire today via project-based learning, they would be able to utilize them for tomorrow. We are in fact preparing them for jobs of tomorrow. Okay, so in a nutshell, that is what PBL is all about. Okay, all right, next slide, please. Okay, now we come to steps for implementing PBL. So directly here, we have 6 steps. Okay, if you do some reading in the internet, you go into PBL Works, you go into Editopia, if you go into many other websites, you will see many versions or many different opinions on the different steps. But actually, basically, when you read, it is nearly the same. So here, what we have done is we have tried to put it in the simplest form. We have managed to get you 6 steps of implementing PBL. Number 1 would be starting with an essential question. Don't worry, every step we will give you more elaborate explanation after this. Okay, essential question. Then after your essential question, remember I told you essential question is the focus of your project. Then you design your plan. How are you going to carry out your project? Then number 3, timeline. Remember, teachers, I talked about timeline. Okay. Number 4, you will monitor the progress. Okay. You have given the task to your students, but that doesn't end there. You need to monitor them from time to time. Okay. Number 5, assessing the outcome. And number 6, you're evaluating the experience or the reflection part. So there are 6 steps in implementing PBL. Next slide, please. Okay, step 1, the essential question. Okay, when we talk about essential question or the driving question here, it is a now question. Okay, we are talking about an open-ended kind of question. It's not a closed-ended question. It's an open-ended question where there can be multiple correct answers. Okay, there can be multiple correct answers. There's no one correct answer. Okay, and students can approach this question from different viewpoints because students have different perspectives, just like us. We all have different perspectives. Okay, so students can approach it from different viewpoints. And for the teacher, this essential question is actually will aid the teacher to focus on the teaching and learning. And also it communicates the purpose of the project. We will see this later, teachers. And for the student, it creates interest, feeling of challenge, and then they ask themselves, why are we doing this? Why am I doing this? Okay, it is a question that has meaning in your students' lives. It is actually the essential question will stimulate the students' thought process. Okay, they'll be able to think. It's very provocative. Okay, and it creates authentic learning experiences to engage and motivate students. Okay, so they are able to connect these experiences to the real world. All right. Okay, let me give you a sample of essential question. Okay, based on your maybe your year 6 topic, I think there's one 360 degrees, if I'm not mistaken, about traveling around the world. So maybe if I ask you a question, where would I go for a vacation? Do you think that is a good essential question? Where would I go for a vacation? Do you think that's a good essential question, teachers? Any opinion on that? Where would I go for a vacation? Puan Siti Shakila is saying hi to the Muarian teachers. Dah rindu tu. Okay. All right. Sorry, I terpesong sikit. Okay, so when I say where would I go for a vacation, that is not a good essential question, teacher. Why? Because it is probably has one answer, very very specific answer, very focused answer. But if I say how can I plan a vacation that I will enjoy? Okay, remember that there's more questions to it. How can I plan a vacation that I will enjoy? Meaning there are many things, many elements that I have to think. I can think about my budget. I have to think about maybe the climate that I would like, the country of the climate. I mean, the climate of the country that I would like to visit. What kind of climate it should be? What kind of place I want to stay? Who I want to bring along with me for my vacation? You see, there's so many things, so many possibilities. So that is what I mean by essential question. It has to be very, very open-ended. All right. Okay. Or maybe I take another topic from your year 6 textbook also. It's something about, I think, being nice. Maybe you say, what is kindness? What is kindness? There's so many ways you can answer that question. There are many multiple correct answers to that question. Okay, so these are just certain examples that I would like to give you. Okay, all right, next slide, please. So after essential question, you plan the project. Wahida, next slide. Wahida. Thank you, Wahida. Planning, yes, okay. So when we talk about standard and skills, you look at DSKP. Pizarina Osman says, can we have the slides afterwards? Definitely, Pizarina. It'll be our pleasure to share our slides. Okay, thank you. All right, which standard and skills fit well with the topic I've chosen? Yes, you have to look at your DSKP and then what choices will my students make along the way? Like I said, the students decide how and they would like to present, how they want to carry out the project and how they want to present it. Okay. Select activities that support the question and utilize the curriculum. Okay, so whatever activities that you choose in carrying out the project would be directed to your essential question and of course related to your curriculum. And what process do I want my students to complete in order to answer the driving question? Means what do I want my students to do so that they will be able to answer the driving question at the same time complete the task given. Okay, next. Schedule, okay? Like I said, timeline is very important. How much time allotted, what time allotment would be given to the project? Okay, somebody asked just now, I think it was Rashida, if I'm not mistaken. How much time should we give the students? Well, basically, your timeline can be few days. It can be 1 to 2 weeks. It can be a month. It can be even longer than that. But we are dealing with primary kids here. So let's not make our project too long. Why don't we just stick it to our PDPR time now so that if school reopens in September, you will be ready for your showcase where your students can publicly display their work. So now during this PDPR, 4 to 5 weeks, we feel it's ample time for the students to be able to do. Adeline Know-how asks, can this project be in one A4 paper only? We'll get back to that. We'll get to your question after this. Okay? Initiate projects that will let all students with success. Our students come in different sizes, shapes, colors, and ability groups, don't you, right? So this is where your differentiation comes in, teachers. Let us, when we carry out this project, we want all our students, if possible, every one of them, to be successful. Only thing, when they deliver the projects to us, it can be in different forms. Remember, student choice and voice. So you have to be very flexible. Okay, you have to be very flexible. So when I say changes will happen, the good students, maybe your timeline, you plan this to last for 4 weeks. But your good students finish it in 2 weeks. Fine. Maybe the weaker kids, even at the end of the 4 weeks, they are not finished. So they want maybe another week, another 2 weeks. Why not? Because at the end, you want all your students to achieve success. Okay, so be flexible. All right. Okay, next. Monitor the progress. So every task we give our kids, we need to monitor. We cannot just, okay, hari ni bagi task, okay, next end of the 4 weeks, okay, hantar, just like that. And nothing is discussed in between. So teachers, we need to monitor. And how can we monitor? Maybe you can say, oh, now PDPR, how to monitor? Okay, maybe you give them the task today. You don't have to ask them every day. It can, but you must make yourself available to the students. Maybe they can call you, they can message you, text you, WhatsApp, Telegram you, and when they are stuck somewhere along the way, that you are always ready to help them, ready to facilitate, ready to give them the correct guidance to get them out of the problem they are in at that juncture. So you must be available. But maybe every week you do have face-to-face. So when you have the face-to-face, you can just pick up and ask them, so how's your project going along? Randomly call your students. Okay, where have you come so far? What are the problems you're facing? Are you facing any obstacles? And maybe you can come give solutions on how they can overcome that obstacles, how they can overcome the problem they're facing. Maybe they're stuck somewhere along the way. So you can give them the extra nudge, the push to overcome. Okay, rubrics. Okay, maybe if you want, you can set rubrics. Okay, if my students are able to do this, that means yes, they can achieve, so you can come up with your own rubrics as well. And final product, diorama, you want it to be a poster, you want it to be a video presentation, report, it's up to you. So I said, this is where your differentiation comes. Maybe your essential question is one question, but The product can come in different forms. Maybe the good ones, they are very, very enterprising and innovative and creative. They come up with a big model, which we will be seeing later. You will be blown away by the sample we're going to show you later. So they come up with a big model. But the not so good students, all they can afford is maybe just a scrapbook like thing, like a flip book like kind of thing. Why not? Maybe they just can draw only. Maybe this child is good in drawing. So what her thoughts, her ideas, she just want to express it through drawing or just cut and to color paper. Why not? Okay. So that is where your differentiation comes in. All right. Next. Can we do a journal example about that? And we can put the timeline for that as we know. Oh, you want your project to be a journal, Samira. Okay, it can be, but I believe that you must have a driving question. You must have a focus. You must have a focus. Why? Not just just do a journal on how life is for your during the pandemic. Okay, so you must be able to brainstorm. There's an issue, and then you can come up with a creative journal for that. Okay, and of course, nothing is without assessment. So step 5 and 6, you will be assessing the outcome and evaluating the experience. Okay, how? Like somebody asked, journaling share. Okay, when we talk about journaling here, we are talking about the students' thoughts and feelings as they are doing their project. How they feel. Today I've done this, or I feel so happy I was able to come this far. I don't like this, what I did. I'm going to change. Okay, so that is their thoughts and reflections. They make like a note, like a diary, like a personal diary. Okay, and then they discuss what worked well. Okay, whatever this worked well and whatever needs to be changed, they can also put it in their journal. Okay, and teachers, as you assess them, you must give them the feedback. You must give them feedback on how they have how they have performed, how they're progressing in their work, and maybe what elements they can change to make the project better. So your ideas, your professional suggestions and advice comes in. And of course, you share ideas that will lead to new questions and new projects. Some of you may have very, very good students. Okay, I trust some of you may have very, very good students. So what you can do is you can even like during the face-to-face, during your online, maybe your Google Classroom, when you're asking the students about the progress of the project and the students voice their problem or whatever, you can even get your other students to give ideas. Okay, so when the other students are giving ideas, they are also collaborating, sharing their ideas. Okay, so that is also a form of assessing. Okay, and because you see here, teachers, the students are not taking a test. They are not just merely writing an essay where you can just judge them and give them a grade. Okay, they are actually demonstrating their understanding by creating a product and a presentation. So here, by doing a project, the students are also learning. They are reading, they are writing, they are practicing their oral skills. In fact, they are even gaining knowledge of other subjects, as you will see later. Okay, when they're coming up with a model, maybe they are calculating measurement. Maths is involved. Okay, all right. Zulhilmi asks, do we assess all skills for a PBL, or is it okay to only focus on 1 or 2 skills? Okay, Madam Shakila will answer you there. Okay, all right. So it is across subjects. And we have seen that PBL is doable for all students across all grades. Okay, not just the big kids. Because I will also share a video later. You would be blown away that this video or this project was actually done by year 2 kids. Okay, So yeah, we will be sharing all this with you later. Okay, next. So actually, we have come to the end of the content part. The content part on what PBL is all about. Now we will progress to the sample. We have a sample here, a sample of a project done by one of you, a teacher, just like you. Okay. So for this session, uh, uh, before my friend takes over, I will pass it back to Wahida. Okay, so I hope that if you have any other question regarding the content, the content of PBL, maybe you can just put it in the chat box. Okay, all right. Okay, back to you, Wahida.
Much, Mrs. Rajesh, for a brilliant sharing with us. Okay, for the second part, we'll be giving this presentation to Mrs. Shakila. Please
Okay,
welcome Mrs. Siti Shakila from PPD Korean.
okay, thank you, Wahida. Okay, now we have come to the second segment. Before I start the second segment, I just want to say hi to Maureen teachers. I hope you still remember me. Okay, hope everyone is doing well. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, as Miss Puan Rajesh has mentioned to you, what are the things that you as teachers should know? Meaning that she has explained some pedagogical aspect of what is PBL and what you should know as a teacher. Now, segment 2, where I will be just briefing you, all of you, is about what you as a teacher should do. Okay, now, just now, segment 1, what you should know. Segment 2, what you should do. So, for this, we are going to refer to one sample PBL project, which is known as My Dream Town. Okay, now, what is the next slide? Eh, okay, I'm waiting for the slide. Wahida, I don't see any slide lah.
Wahida.
I'm sorry. Can you wait for a minute? I have connection problem here. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay, in the meantime, I think I will just like tell you what are the things as we wait for the slide lah. We just I'll just explain to you. A lot of teachers think PBL is something that is difficult to be done, or maybe it is like a problematic project, not a project based, but a problematic project. So this is a wrong, this is a misunderstanding among teachers. And today's purpose is for us to share a simple project for you to consider. We want you to consider a simple project. And okay, while we are still waiting for Wahida, as a teacher, you have to prepare lesson plan. Okay, what is a teacher without a lesson plan? And we and some of the questions just now they asked whether they can integrate more than one skill. Yes, it is advisable for PBL to integrate more than one skill, because at the end you can have a holistic kind of assessment, and you can defend your the TP given based on the skills that you have actually had a holistic assessment of the student. Okay, Waida, are we still having connection problem? Okay, this is
Can you see the
the
slide now?
no, it's still like
No,
Not yet.
belum.
it's
Okay,
still
let's
loading.
jump.
It's still loading. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait for the slide, let me explain. Okay, in a lesson plan, what are the things that we have to put in when we do a lesson plan that is labeled as a project-based learning lesson plan? Okay, number one, the big thing that you have to write is what is the big idea for the lesson plan. So the big idea for the project will be written first. Like for example, like my dream town project. Okay, that you write first so that everybody knows that is the project. And then the second thing is the class. Okay, as usual, the subject, the theme. Okay, what is the theme and the topic. So here, as Madam Rajesh explained to you just now, you can integrate more than one topic. Okay, you can integrate more than one topic. That means you take, like for example, the sample that we are going to show, which is still loading, is the teacher has integrated uh, topic unit 1, towns and cities. Okay, she took the starter unit, and then the area that she wanted to focus is preposition, and also unit 8, going away, and she's going to focus on holiday, vacation and weather. So this is something, okay, dah dapat dah slide, Alhamdulillah, baru rasa lega. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, when you integrate topics, it shows that you have a more, what do you call it, divergent kind of assessment actually. It is not only assessing one. That is why it is advisable for you to come up with, tunjuk kat my dream town plan tu. Waida? Let's okay, good. Okay, so you see here, ladies and gentlemen, let us look at the content standard. Here the teacher has integrated, she has put in two content standard here, which is one of the speaking skill and the other one of the writing skill. You can have more than one, you can have all four, depends on you, but later in this lesson plan we will show you how the assessment or how the project actually caters to all these standards. That is the thing that matters. Whether everything that we can write as many content standard as you want, but the project must reflect all the standards. So here, this teacher, she's quite pandai lah, this girl. This girl is pandai lah. Memang I cakap dia pandai. So she has put in two skills, which are of the speaking and also the writing skill. So the skills that the learning standard that she took is from speaking 2.1.5, which is to describe people, places, and objects using suitable statements. And the learning standard under the writing skill, which this teacher has chosen, is 4.2.4, describe people, places, and objects using suitable statements. And 4.3.3, produce a plan or draft of one topic or two paragraphs for a familiar topic and modify this appropriately in response to feedback. So ladies and gentlemen, you might be asking me, Puan Shakila, why does she has two skills, the same similar skills? Okay, so now by now you should know that 2.14.5 caters under the speaking. That means the evidence will be shown in an oral activity. The second one, 4.2.4, describing people, it is under the writing skill. So the evidence will be shown in a written form. Okay, got it? So good. Now, the performance standards. Okay, under PBL, the performance level that we will put in is TP6. TP6. At the end of the project, whether you want to give that TP6 or you go lower than TP6 depends on the quality of the project that has been produced and also the process that the progress and process that the child has made. But we as a teacher, when we do our lesson plan for PBL, okay, I just want to remind you and also remind myself, for PBL, put TP6. Okay, that is the highest one. Whether at the end of the project you still want to retain that TP6 or you want to lower it down, okay, go low, that depends on the project. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, next, let us look at the learning objective. This is something that you have to pay attention. So for this specific project, which is the My Dream Town project, by the end of the project, pupils will be able to design and create. So you underline these two words, design and create their own town and describe. Okay, underline, describe. Okay, these are the keywords that that matters in project base. Okay, the keywords: number one, design and create; number two, describe their town using suitable statements with minimal guidance. So here, okay, here, ladies and gentlemen, you will see objective number one. That means the pupils will come up with something that is visible, that you can see. Okay, and they can talk about it. Describe, they can talk about it. Okay, number two, plan and write a description. Now you underline plan and write. Okay, a description about the town using suitable statements with minimal guidance. So objective number two, it has to be shown in a written form. So there are two objectives here. So what is the success criteria? As we know, success criteria relates to the students. Okay, so by the end of the by the end of the project, pupils will be able to, okay, what will the students be able to do? Number one, describe. As you can see, you will still see the same word describe, which we have written under objective. So how do they describe? Using at least 5 suitable nouns and adjectives. Now you see, we are zooming in, we are becoming, okay, we have zoomed in, we are detailing it of how. That is why, okay, ladies and gentlemen, there is a misunderstanding that saying that PBL is only or can be done in subjects like science or mathematics, which is not correct. It can also be done for subjects like language. And today, that is the purpose of our sharing. Okay, let me continue. Another success criteria written by this teacher is write a short paragraph. So this success criteria relates to the learning objectives number 2, which is to plan and write a description. So how do the students write? They write a short paragraph about their town with at least about 10 sentences. You see? You see, now we are being very specific. The teacher has been very specific. And let us, you as a teacher have to write the task. So what is the student's task? Okay, the student's task is pupils design and create their own town and later present and describe their town using key phrases and vocabulary they have learned in the topic. Clear? Okay, now assessment. When we talk of assessment, we cannot run away from these 3 items, which is the oral, the written work, and the observation. So under PBD, that is why we are proposing you to go for PBL, so that you have a solid evidence to defend the TP that you give to your year 6 students by the end of this year. Okay, so the oral assessment is for pupils to pupils should be able to present and describe their towns using suitable nouns and adjectives. Okay, tick. You underline all the keywords so that we know what we are looking, so that we are focused. It's not like just buat aja lah apa-apa project janji bangunan kau cantik. No. We still have to relate. We have to come back to the DSKP. We have to come back to what we as a language teachers are supposed to do. Okay, what is the written work that the pupils have to do? Okay, pupils able to write a short paragraph to describe their towns with relevant details. And so we as a teacher, what do we observe? And also, what do the pupils observe? That is the process. What do the pupils observe? Pupils be able to identify the place and describe it using prepositions or place correctly. So what are the evidence needed for this project for this project? Number one is the town model, which is going to be the showcase at the end of the PBL project. Okay. Number 2, recorded videos. Okay, recorded pictures, and these are the things that the students will gather as proof of their work progress. And number 3, the written work, which is the paragraph. So these are the things you have highlighted. And of course, the learning activities. I'm not going to go through the learning activities. These are sample which we will be sharing to you this learning lesson plan for you to go through later. Okay, next slide. Wait up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as Miss Puan Rajesh mentioned to you just now, timeline. Timeline is something time frame though. Next, okay, Timeline is something that is what you call it compulsory when you plan a project-based learning. Okay, you cannot do a project based without giving the student a timeline or time frame. So here we would like to share one time frame. So this project is supposedly to be completed in 4 weeks. Okay, in 4 weeks. They have 4 weeks to complete. So I'm just going to see how the teacher has show you how the teacher has planned. Like for example, week 1, what do the pupils do in week 1? So number 1, pupils recap on the key phrases and vocab they have learned. These are the things that will happen in the class, in the class. Okay, with the teacher present there, she will be explaining, you will be doing brainstorming, you will be doing essential questions. These are the things that comes here during this week. Pupils are introduced to possible careers. These are the things, because we are talking about my dream town, right? So we will give a position for the pupils. You as the town mayor, you are selected as the engineer of town gini, things like that. So we are going to let them start to imagine. They will start their imagination. Okay, they will be thinking creatively. All this will happen in the classroom. Week 1 is something that happens in the classroom, and pupils start to plan. So when they imagine, okay, they will start the imagination. Oh, my town, I want my town to be, every building to be triangular in shape. This is something that they can think. Okay, next, week 2. What happens in week 2? They start to work on their models. So when they start to work on their models, they will be Googling. This is what they will be looking at all the resources. So here, the teacher must help them in giving them the resources. Where can they search for the ideas, and the pupils prepare a script to describe their town, because one of the objective is for them to come up with a written paragraph to explain about the town that they have created. And teacher provides guidance to them, like key phrases, vocabulary, example of words. So week 2 is where the teacher shares the sample, like the paragraph can be like this. These are the vocab that you can use. What are the adjectives that you can put in your writing? These are the things that comes in week 2. And then we will proceed to week 3. What happens in week 3? Pupils will submit their script. Okay, pupils submit a recorded video of them presenting their own. As what we, like myself, Rajesh, we always receive these videos sent by students to you, teachers, to use, where they will be talking about any works. So this is not something unfamiliar for you. This is something that you have done and you are still doing it. Kudos to you. Congratulations. And teachers give feedback to the pupils. So based on the script that has been received or the videos that has been submitted, teachers will comment individual based. Okay, I should say, okay, teacher A, okay, she will comment on student A. Okay, your work is good. Would you like to, because the project is still not over, so would you like to add in more, or it's okay, things like that. And week 4, what happens in week 4? Pupils will make amendments based on the feedback given by the teacher. So maybe some students will say, tak maulah cikgu, tak nak buat lagi lah, saya nak hantar ini je lah. Tak apalah, terima je lah. Or the students say, okay, saya nak tambah lagi sedikit. I just want to edit a few things here. Then I'll resend the thing to you. These are the things that happens in week 4, and pupils will prepare for the showcase. That means the whole model. They'll prepare the whole model. Okay, next, Waida. So what are the things that we share to our students? Okay, one, my town project. So you see here in this sample, the teacher has shared a few samples of models. Okay, some models are like elaborately, creatively done. Some models looks like a bit simpler. Some models is like unique. So we have a lot. So this is our part as a teacher. And when we share this, we will tell our students, make your own town using recycle item. Do you know there was even students later the teacher will share to you. I don't want to spoil the surprise. Okay, record a video of you presenting your town and also send your video to your teacher by when. You must give a time limit. You cannot let it like drag. And then what are the categories for that you want to award at the end of the session? It depends on you whether you want to do it or no. So like this teacher, she has a little architect award. She also has a best presenter award. Because these are the things that the teacher will give. So when will this teacher share this with the student? Week 2. This is being shared in week 2. So we take, that is why we say the process that matters. The process that matters. Take it slow. Okay, one by one, one by one. Don't rush. Don't give them a project only, the instruction comes only in week 1. Okay, saya nak you buat macam ni. Okay, dah habis. And then after that, you only contact the students in week 4. That is not fair. Don't do that. Please be with them along the way until the end. Okay, after that, what are the other things that the teachers can share? Okay, like here, the teacher has shared some key phrases because the students have to come up with some written work, right? They have to write a paragraph. So here, as teacher, because you see in our DSKP, that is the beauty, the beautiful thing about our primary school DSKP. There is a phrase, minimal guidance. There is a phrase. So that there are not even one DSKP that is not of any guidance. Semua ada guidance. That is the beauty of this thing. So you can help. So it doesn't state that if you want to give TP6 to a student, that means the teacher didn't help the student at all. No, that is not true. You can still help and coach the students. Okay, so for writing, the teacher has shared here some phrases for the pupils to use. So the average pupils, they will just use this. But for the above average students, maybe they will come out with their own sentences. And here the teacher has also shared some vocabs pertaining to building, like bridge, square. So these are the vocabs that the students can use in their writing or even in their oral presentation. And the grammar part that the teacher has shared here are some of the adjectives that can be used by the students when they describe their town. So you see here, ladies and gentlemen, how beautiful this project base is. And the last thing that the teacher can share is a sample of the script that the students have to produce. So here, we as a teacher, we will give them a sample because we are actually practicing differentiated strategies. When we practice differentiated strategies, we will give them a variety of choices for the students to choose. As what Madam Rajesh mentioned to you, students have voice and choice. Students have voice and choice. Let's hear their voice and also let's accept their choice. So here, you see, the average students may just retain the same sentence patterns, but they only change the words that has been underlined to the one that of their own lah. But the above average student, they can change the whole thing, or they may even choose not to use your sentence patterns. So let it be, no problem. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, that is all of the lesson plan. Okay, the things that you have to prepare. Do you think it is a burden to you? So you can write in the chat so Pon Rajesh will attend to you. Okay, now done. So what are the second thing that we want to share? We are going to show them a PBL template. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be sharing with you an empty PBL template, so that you can use this when you plan your own PBL. So we will be sharing to you the PBL plan that I have just described. One empty tablet lagi. One empty template that you can use. Sebab kita ni takut lupa kan. Okay, now let us watch this video. Wahida, can we show them one video? Whatever we are talking to you today is not based on our imagination, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever we are explaining to you, describing to you, okay, is based on what teacher
Okay, sure.
like you has done. Okay, Wahida, can we show them the video? Let's see, let's watch this video. Okay, this is the pupil from SK Panjang Sari, yeah?
See the video?
Yep. Okay, Wahida, I think we don't show them video too. We will share the second video later with them. Can we go to the next slide now?
Okay, now the second video.
Why students when students engage in PBL though? Ladies and gentlemen, you might be wondering what students get when they engage in PBL. Actually, there are a lot of things that students will get that we at an initial stage, primary school, if we can do a good PBL with our students, I am sure we are actually opening the door to the world, to the students. Okay, what happens when students engage in PBL? Number one, they will become more engaged in the learning. Yeah, because they dominate their learning. They take charge of the learning process. They will determine what they want to do in their learning. So these are the things. Whether the project is a success or a failure depends on them. So we are actually giving our students the autonomy of deciding what they want to do. Okay, what the students will also become like wild and absurdly different. They will start thinking different. All this while, the traditional method of teaching is only follow what the teacher says. But PBL is a platform for them to show us what they think, and we as a teacher, we will be listening to them. Listen to them. It's okay. Their ideas may be absurd or maybe even be crazy, but never mind. Who knows? They will become an inventor one day. Maybe whatever crazy ideas that they have now seems like so absurd to us, but don't who knows what is in store for them. Okay, students will become explorers, that is for sure. When they engage themselves in PBL, they will start exploring a lot of ideas. Okay, they will be exploring a lot of resources from a lot of sites in the internet. Okay, and Wahida, can you show me the next slide?
This one.
This is the one. Okay, so students are when they engage themselves in PBL, yang tadi tu. Okay, all right.
Oh,
When
so
they
sorry, my
engage
connection
themselves
is
in
quite.
PBL, they are ready
So
for the
sorry.
creative economy. They are also they learn how they learn to take creative risks. This is something that is a beautiful thing that can be done. When they learn to take creative risks, they will learn to accept whatever consequences of the choices that they make. So we will teach them at this young age that you do this, this is what you get. You do that, that is what you get. So these are the things that we let them learn on their own while they are engaging in PBL. The students will also make deep connection between ideas from one idea to another. They will communicate among themselves, and then they will decide which one is proper and not proper, which one is suitable and not suitable. They also think divergently. This is something that for me, it's about time that we open the door for the students. It is not only, even when I was teaching last time, my tagline is listen to me. That was my tagline, which was about 9 years ago. But I'm sure at this time, you cannot be using that tagline anymore. So let the students think divergently. Let them come with their own ideas, and then when they engage in PBL, they automatically engage in interactive thinking, because PBL is a project, is a teamwork project. So when they complete the project, during the process, they will be interacting, communicating, and then they will learn how to interact in a proper manner, and they become problem solvers. That is the issue of PBL, because PBL starts with an issue. So if they can solve the issue, they can come up with a solution, a creative solution, a critical kind of solution, that shows whether they have learned what they have learned, whether the student is a critical mind student or is a creatively mind student. And the students, they learn project management. When we give them a time frame of 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, okay, we are actually coaching them to keep up with the schedule, to plan their project, to plan. So at this young age, if we succeed in giving the pupils the opportunity to become a good project manager, I'm sure they will become a more responsible student, youth, adult in future. And of course, they grow more empathetic. How do they grow more empathetic? Because PBL is a teamwork. PBL means teamwork. So when they work in groups, they will become more empathetic, feeling, oh, the other friend is telling like this. Oh, okay, I must not do this. So these are the things that we want to integrate in PBL. Okay, next. So we as a teacher, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to give you some tips for today. Some tips for teachers. So we have underlined here 8 tips, 8 PBL tips for teachers. Next slide, Vaida. Okay, so what are the tips? So number one, teachers, when we talk about PBL, the first thing that must come to your mind is PBL means doing project. Okay, done. Okay, second, when people say PBL, the second thing that must come to your mind is it is a team effort. Okay, it is a team effort. It is not an individual effort. You might ask, okay, how can they do teamwork during PDPR? Yes, it can still be done. The team members are at home, their father, their mother, the brother, the sister, the uncle, the auntie, the grandma, the grandpa, whoever that is around them. So it is not they alone do the things. Okay, so the first two things, when we talk about PBL, what we should know is it's a project, it is a team effort. Done. Okay, next, what what are the things that we have to know? students and parents must understand the progress, because PBL they have process and they have time frame. So by this time frame, these are the process that has to be done. So parents has to understand. If not, parents will be complaining, apalah cikgu ni bagi kerja tak apa-apa, cikgu bodoh betul lah. Katalah ya. Okay, next. PBL empowers students. This is what I've been telling you from just now. Empowers students. You mean you give the autonomy to the students to decide, to choose, to make choice, to make a wise decision. And the right technology can make all the difference. Here depends on the technology that the student can have. So never mind. If the project is simple, tak semestinya you have to come out with like a $1 million project. No, nobody said that. You can use whatever means. So teachers, be fair, be fair, be fair. Look at the process, look at the commitment by the student, look at the motivation, look at the spirit of the student, look how enthusiastic the student is. These are the things at all that is taken into consideration. And then PBL forces students to see learning differently. Yes, this is one platform where students can actually take charge of their learning. All this while students has only been listening to us. Yeah. Whatever cikgu cakap lah, apa-apa lah. So why not now? We listen to the student. Let them decide. It's their world. Okay? We just teach them the moral aspect of it, moral. We are to nurture, as a primary school, we nurture the students with good values, with good attitude. These are the things that we should do. And PBL also developing, because some teachers, they are a bit worried about this essential question, or how essential is an essential question. So don't worry about this. Don't take it too seriously. Developing quality essential question takes practice. Okay, practice makes perfect. So it's okay lah. If you feel like the first project that you did, you gave all the close-ended question, never mind. Who's going to blame you? Nobody's going to blame you. If anybody say, awak ni tanya soalan EQ yang tak betul lah, you as a teacher jawab aja, ya, saya pun sedang belajar cikgu. Macam tu dah. Alright. And then the last thing that you need to know, and you really, really need to hold on when you're doing a project-based learning, is to be patient. To be patient. Let them give time. Okay, let us give time to the students to actually like us. Kita pun belajar kan. So these are the things that is related to what we have to do. So with that, I hand over to Wahida. Okay.
Yes, okay. Alright, so thank you so much, Mrs. Shakila, for the great explanation. But before that, I'm so sorry because my connection problem just now. I'm so sorry. Okay, so we already listened to the explanation and watching the video from the slide presentation. Okay, so now I have a good news for all of you, where we have the teacher who actually conduct this project. So the person itself is here today to share her own experience and also reflection when carry out this project with her students. So if you have any question, I guess this is a great opportunity to ask her. So just write it in the chat box. So okay, here please welcome teacher Nur Hanifah Ghaffar to share her impressive experience here.
Okay, thank you, our lovely moderators, Ms. Wahida. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank Madam Rajeshwari Naidu, the SIC Bahasa from PPD Muar, Madam Siti Shakila Nirmala, the SIC Bahasa from PPD Korean, and all the teachers here. Okay, I'm Hanifah from SK Panjasari, and just a little bit about myself. I just posted in 2017 to SKM Sudut Pindah, SKM school in Segamat. And then in 2019, I transferred to SK Panjasari Muar. As you can see, I'm a new teacher. I'm not an expert in PBL. I believe all the teachers here are more knowledgeable than me, and this is just my humble sharing about what I did with my students. Okay, so did my slide show?
Yes.
Okay. So this is my school, SK Panjasari. It's a Luar Bandar school. We have 23 teachers here and 208 pupils. Okay, the pupils here don't speak or use English very much in their daily life, so they're not quite well versed in English. Even before PKP, during face-to-face interaction, we, the English teachers here, need to conduct different and a lot of activities just to get the pupils to participate and involve in the lesson. So when PDPR started, I need to think and come up with an activity where the pupils can learn and apply the target language. PDPR is quite stressful, not only just for us, the teachers, but also for the pupils. We can't simply just give them worksheet or written tasks to do. They'll be bored, right? So this is when I think that PBL worked very well. What I did is I did my Dream Town project with my year 5 students. There are 31 pupils in this class, and there are mixed abilities from intermediate to low. So at the beginning of this project, I've got very low expectation regarding the participation from the pupils, but we've got nothing to lose, teachers, if we try it. So I just try to do it. Okay, so what I did was, in my part, what I did was I briefed them about this project via Google Meet, and then I teach them about the script, on how to write the script. I provide them with example of the script, the key phrases, the vocabulary, and the adjectives. And then for the pupils part, they need to build their own town model, and then they need to prepare a script for their video presentation. Okay, that one they did during this PDPR. And when the school reopened in September, what we're going to do, we're going to make some amendments regarding the script or the model itself, and then we're going to have a showcase. Okay, and these are some challenges that I faced during conducting this activity. Okay, number one, access to the information. Okay, I believe most teachers during PDPR face this problem, right? Some of the pupils are MIA from day one until now. So I also face the same problem. Okay, and then for the second challenge is access to the materials. Since we're now in PKP and most shops are closed, so the pupils have limited materials with them. And then number 3 is amount of guidance given. When we have face-to-face interaction, the pupils can easily reach to us every day during classes. But during PDPR, we have a lot of constraints, just like data and prepaid access. And then in my case, there's an outbreak of COVID-19 cases around the school area. So I can't go to the school and give them any printed materials or printed modules to them. So what I did was, for amount of guidance, for the challenge of amount of guidance, what I did, I gave them this soft copy version. They will have the key phrases, the vocabulary and the adjective, and also the script to help them to write the text, and then for them to practice with their presentation. And then in terms of access to materials, I asked them, you can use whatever materials you have with you. If you don't have anything with you, you can use leaves, you can use rocks, small rocks to represent the buildings. So these people A, he used Lego blocks to represent the buildings. And then this people B, she used a shoebox. So she did not make a large scale of town model. She only used a shoebox to make her town. Okay, so here are the examples of products that the pupils managed to produce. I think the slide is delayed. Okay. Next one. Okay, another examples of the product. Okay, and also this one. Okay, just like I said before, actually at the beginning of this project, I did not have any high expectation from them. But one thing that I learned from this project is never underestimate your kids. They can produce products really, really well. So, quotes of the day, two quotes that I really, really like. Children are naturally creative. It is our job to give them the freedom, materials, and space to let their creativity blossom to its full potential. It's from Jean Van Hal. And another one is from Loris. Our task regarding creativity is to help children climb their own mountains as high as possible. No one can do more. So don't be demotivated if you did not get a product or the product that you aimed at the end of the project, because as the teacher, we can only motivate them, we can only guide them. The pupils themselves need to climb their own mountains. So I believe that's all from me. Okay, thank you.
Hanifa, you have a question there by Satya
Yes.
Ram, who asks, are they supposed to send it to you? So what is your plan after this? Can you please share your thoughts on that?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Satyaram. So during this PDPR, the pupils just need to send me their written text and also their video presentation. But after the school reopen in September, hopefully, we're going to do a showcase. But before we do the showcase, we're going to make some amendments. We're going to edit the text. We're going to probably during this PDPR, the town model will be sengit-bengit, I think. So we give them some time to edit or to means to what? To betulkan balik dia punya model. So then we're going to do the showcase.
Okay, teachers, if is there, okay, another question there. In a week, did you break down into smaller tasks? Nurul Ashikin is asking.
Okay, in a week, did you break? Okay, thank you, Nurul Ashikin. In a week, did you break down into smaller tasks? Okay, just like Madam Shakila has shown, I in a week, during a class. For week 1, actually I did it during our face-to-face interaction. So basically, day 1, they will learn about these key phrases. Day 2, about vocabulary. Day 3, they learn about the occupation, about architect, about town planner. So we divide the task into smaller and then a longer time frame for them to complete the project.
Is there any another question from the teachers?
So we now open to the floor, teachers. Is there any question? I mean, are there any other questions that you would like to throw to Hanifa, so she would be able to shed more light on how she carried out PBL in her school, rural school, in fact, right, Hanifa?
Yes.
Okay. So, are there? Okay. Okay, I think Wahida, you can take it from here. Oh,
I think there is a
there's one
question.
more question. Yeah, there's another
Okay.
question.
Okay, what about from Sunanhan? What about those people not responding? Okay, actually I also face this problem. But just like I told you before, some of the pupils have limited access to the information. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a lot time before the showcase. So when the school reopen, I will attend to the pupils who did not responding first, tell them about this project and ask them to complete their task. And then we're going to edit it. And later after that, we're going to have the showcase together. Okay, during this PDPR, what we can do, we can only focus for the pupils who completed the task. There's nothing more that we can do for those people who did not manage to have access to this task.
So, is there any question? Any other question? Any other question from the teachers? All right. So I guess if there is no other question, then thank you so much, Teacher Nur Hanifa, for your wonderful sharing with the audience today.
Okay, thank you to you too.
All right. So I'm going to paste the link for attendance form. Okay. So please make sure all of you fill in the form according to your district. Okay. So while waiting, I'm pasting the link. I'll wait a few minutes, maybe for a Q&A session for with the speaker, Mrs. Rajesh and Mrs. Shakila. If you have another, if you have question for them.
So teachers, the idea of us sharing this session today, number one, we feel that PBL is an excellent platform actually, excellent platform for this remote learning thing. And furthermore, it is already stipulated in Manual 2.0 PBL for you all to conduct PBL. Another thing I would like to say is if teachers pick up this idea, if you sambut this idea of carrying out PBL in your school, like what Hanifa has done, maybe we can give you a time frame. We'll give you a time frame from maybe to now till end of September or something like that, where you have carried out PBL. And then maybe we will conduct some kind of competition at district level, and maybe, who knows, maybe inter-district Victorian as well. where we can highlight. Shakila's laughing. Okay, where we would invite schools who carry out PBL to share the 3 best projects with us. And then maybe this can be a competition and you can put it under outreach for HIP, because as we know this year your HIP online reporting is only once a year. Okay, so maybe we already did a HIP program the other time, so you already have one reporting there, and maybe you can have another report here. So I really hope schools will sambut this idea, take it up. You have the whole of August now and maybe September, and then if you really carry out this thing, maybe by October we can do the district level thing, and
Yeah,
you
it
can
can
put
be
it
done.
in.
It can be done.
Yeah, it can be done, and you can put it for your online reporting for outreach. Okay, and if you do the district level, we will give you certs for the school, for the panel, and everything, and you would have a great PBL report for your English panel as well. But this is
The
where
most
your whole
important thing, Rajesh, the most important thing, the teachers will have a solid evidence to defend their PBD assessment.
exactly, yeah. Okay,
But
so
I think there is a question from Muhammad Zuhilmi. Do we ask EQ
uh-huh.
directly to people?
Your EQ, not to say EQ,
Is
you're not going to ask
EQ
the
is
EQ.
EQ is an
Essential question.
interactive question.
Hmm.
It's like a brainstorming. It's like a brainstorm session.
Zuhelmi, I think you have to conduct a brainstorming session with your students, and then leave the options there, and then you derive to one good EQ. You can guide them towards it. Okay, it's not that we straight away give the EQ to the kids. I know maybe you will say it's a bit challenging to
It
conduct it
is.
in solely
Yes.
in English, So this is where use your discretion. If you feel you need to use BM in your brainstorming session, by all means. But it's up to you on how you, paraphrase what your students tell you and derive to a good EQ in order for you to carry out PBL. Okay. One more thing, teachers, don't forget the link that Wahida has provided. One is for Mua teachers and one is for Korean teachers. So please, I hope, fill in the right form.
Check first
Yeah.
before you fill in your
Okay.
details.
Yeah.
There's one more question here. So, do we decide the TP for people when the PBL is completed?
Yes, it can be done. During the process, you can already think of the TP that you want to give during the process. At the end, you can finalize the TP lah.
So are there any more questions?
Is there any question from the teachers?
So, Shakila, if there are no more questions, shall we wrap it up for today?
Yeah. Hope
Okay.
the teachers have received some beneficial information from today's sharing.
Yeah,
Alright.
that is our utmost hope, that today's session has benefited all of you in one way or another. And I would like to express my gratitude and I thank all of you for spending the past 2 hours. Now the number has gone down to 99. Just now there's 100 over participants. But anyway, thank you for sharing, for being here today. And also thank you very much for Noor Hanifa Ghaffar for being here, for doing a wonderful job in school. Please carry on with what you're doing. Continue to make the difference that you're already doing in school. And when you do your showcase, I want to be there. Okay, I did tell you that. Okay, all right. And thank you to Wahida for being a wonderful moderator. Wahida is my intern, and
Thank you.
she has been she has been a great help, but she will be leaving soon in 2 weeks. So if today I take the opportunity to even wish her all the best in your future and endeavors.
Okay,
Okay,
all the
all right,
best,
Wahida.
Wahida.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Keep going with this attitude. All the best. All right, and once again, thank you, teachers. Don't forget to um, submit your link. Submit your attendance link. And another thing, we would also would like you to give us the feedback. Wahida, can you share the feedback review
Oh,
here as
sure.
well?
Sure.
Can you just share before the teachers leave? Okay, we would just appreciate it also if you can give us a feedback on today's session, so that we can work on improving ourselves and also maybe on how to serve you all better. All right. So with that, thank you very much, teachers. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
And
Regis.
goodbye.
Thank you,
Take
everyone.
care. Yeah, thanks, Shakila. I will speak to you soon. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
I'll
Okay.
try to
Goodbye.
use the underground road tomorrow.
Okay.
Underground. Okay, can you come on screen for a while? I just would like to take a photo of us, Hanifa. Oh, you're driving. Okay, sudah cabut. No wonder. Okay. Wahida, can
Okay.
you take? Okay, never mind.
Sure.
I will take.
Okay.
Okay, I'll take. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, that's nice. All right.
Alright.
So
So,
thank you. Bye. Drive safe.
Okay,
Okay,
bye
thank you
bye.
Okay,
everyone.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Okay.
thank you everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.